So the first ever video I made for this channel, I was largely going on about how I was warming up to the idea of a 3D anime, largely inspired by the lighting techniques used in the video game Neverness to Everness, which I of course have been playing a lot of. Because before playing Neverness to Everness, I just simply was of the opinion that 3D anime is a thing that just doesn't really work for me. The first reason being, from a technical perspective, it's very hard to understand exactly how 2D lighting works. There's some really amazing Blender projects where people are able to get that hand-drawn feel from the nodes alone, and I have no idea how that works. I can't even begin to guess how that functions. But the second one's a little bit harder to understand, because when I look at anime like RWBY, or I look at the work that they do at Dillingu Studios, that stuff is all very impressive, but for some reason it just doesn't gel with me all that well. Our story takes us back a month ago. I was high on Neverness to Everness. It made me a true believer in the idea of anime in 3D. I found myself consuming copious amounts of Dillingu Studios shorts to get myself inspired. Because their shorts are amazing.
Joe? What's going on?
It seems like the simulation's glitching out. I can't control it.
They're so good. Until it was finally my turn to make my own project, and this is where everything went horribly wrong. So the anime that I'm working on is a sort of esports anime inspired by the fighting game Tekken, with a little bit of a hint of Yu-Gi-Oh! Though I do realize that, initially it just started as a little fun project I was working on. I probably can't use Tekken indefinitely because of IP reasons, but for the meantime, until I can't do that, the main game that is played in my anime is Tekken. Now, before we dissect this turkey, I think I'm gonna start by showing you guys what I've made rather than waiting till the end, so we can just hop right into it. So, what did you guys think? Did you like it? Because we're trashing it all and starting again because it looks terrible. So I guess the first hurdle to talk about is just what a massive technical undertaking making a 3D character is. For a 3D character, you need to not only design them aesthetically, but you also need to map the geometry so well that their joints bend really easily, shape keys and whatnot that allows their body to actually move and their eyes to blink and their face to deform to different expressions. And I guess the big takeaway here is that you are confined to the rules of a physics engine. Is it correct to bundle geometry under physics in this instance? Either way. Because when it comes to making anime specifically, the places you're going to feel the limits of geometry the most is when you're trying to do very simple angles that I guess we take for granted when it comes to hand-drawn anime. That is a much bigger problem in 3D. I'll give you an example. Let's take a look at this still pose from my animation that I just showed you and another regular anime face, right? In the anime version that's hand-drawn, we have the entire facial profile at the 3/4 angle completely visible to us, whereas in mine there's a little bit of elongation happening because my character's face is a round geometric 3D object. In an anime, when a character is shown from the side, we can see their entire side with their eye and their nose, and as well as the lining around their mouths and stuff, just absolutely perfectly. Whereas in 3D, it kind of falls short. I don't know what more to say. You can just see it. But I do hear some of you in the back saying, but Allison, what if all the stuff you're seeing is just nitpicky stuff? on your own work, because is it not true that every single artist hates every single thing that they made? Maybe you're losing your mind because you just become so obsessed and you can't see what's real and what isn't, what is a problem and what is not. First of all, I am not crazy, okay? Because, as a counterexample, let's see the Link's Guilty Gear, the premier 3D anime game from Arc System Work, does to make their things look 2D, 2D.
If the nose is just a little bit further forward to the camera than the ear, for example, the ear will get just like bent backwards. To avoid that, right? What Guilty Gear basically does is basically just flatten the mesh. This is what Guilty Gear does. I think they do roughly like 70% flattening of the character, but important, only horizontally. So if you look at this now, right, it looks pretty good. But then if we go to the face, there's like some lines that appear that aren't really that nice. And this is basically exactly what this hole basically fixes. What happens is that the geometry on the face is being moved away from the camera. Basically push it into the actual model that you see, and this way basically remove those lines without affecting any of the rest of the line art.
This problem for them is so prevalent. They actually tie shifting geometry to where the camera is. That's how deep it is. The mesh is actually moving, you know, to match where the camera is, so the side profile works and the front camera works, and it's very, very complicated, and I'm not skilled enough to do that, so I didn't. So yeah, there you have it. 3D does not translate to 2D all that well, so and I really, really don't want to make a 3D anime. The next thing we're going to talk about, which is a little less, I think, contentious because it's just better for this kind of thing. Environments. For anime stuff, I think it's a lot easier to solve because all you can do is build your room, your scene, like I did this one, and just pull it into your drawing software. I personally use Krita and just color over it. And the main reason you want to do this above anything else is because of the consistency in the room. You can have the same room at different angles all the time, and all you need to do is color over it. You don't need to redraw an entire image that's only going to exist on the screen for a couple of seconds. You have the room, you can reuse it over and over and over and over again. So highly recommend. If you're going to have an environment, just model it. If you've got skills to model it, pull into Krita, paint over it to make it look anime. Peaches and gravy, Bob's your uncle.